India's youth population is routinely cited as its greatest economic advantage. With hundreds of millions of young people preparing to enter the workforce, this demographic dividend is expected to power a massive economic expansion. But the employment data reveals a stark disconnect. Today, over 2/3 of India's unemployed youth are college graduates. This chart shows the revenue trajectory of India's IT sector over the past 2 decades. As industry exports climbed from $82 billion to over $210 billion, the demand for tech workers surged. Yet starting salaries for entry-level engineers have remained completely flat, frozen around 3 lakh rupees a year since the early 2000s. Looking at the same timeline, executive compensation shows a completely different trajectory. Over just the last 5 years, median CEO pay jumped by 160%. The entry-level line remains anchored exactly where it was 20 years ago. For millions of young Indians, completing a college degree no longer guarantees upward mobility. Instead, it serves as an entry point into a labor market defined by wage stagnation and limited bargaining power. The breakdown of the education pipeline begins long before college. It starts in the primary schooling system the vast majority rely on. In 2016, the West Bengal School Service Commission executed a massive cash for jobs recruitment scam. Under the watch of then Education Minister Kartha Chatterjee, public teaching positions were sold directly for bribes, bypassing qualified candidates. When the courts finally exposed the corruption, they canceled the appointments of over 25,000 teachers and school staff. The immediate result was classrooms sitting completely empty across the state's rural districts, severely impacting lower-income students. Even when teachers are officially hired, unannounced national audits reveal a severe lack of oversight. 1 in 4 government primary school teachers are simply absent from work on any given day. Faced with crumbling infrastructure, chronic absenteeism, and institutional corruption, desperate parents look for alternatives. They are pushed into an unregulated, highly commercialized private coaching sector. Private coaching in India operates as a parallel education ecosystem. It is an industry currently valued at 1 lakh crore rupees. To maximize study time, this ecosystem relies heavily on dummy schools. Students officially enroll in regular high schools to meet board exam requirements, but never attend a single class. They spend their entire day at private coaching centers instead. In testing hubs like Kota, over 300,000 teenagers migrate annually to live in intense, factory-like study environments. Schedules regularly stretch to 18 hours a day, focused exclusively on rote memorization for high-stakes entrance exams. Inside these institutes, students face a process known as batch segregation. They are repeatedly tested and physically divided into different classrooms based solely on their fortnightly mock test scores, creating a rigid public hierarchy of performance. The psychological weight of this environment is severe. In 2024, the intense pressure and fear of academic failure claimed 14,488 student lives. Examining this demographic within the broader national data shows that students now account for 8.5% of all suicides across India. By extracting exorbitant fees up front and ignoring holistic development, the shadow education system commodifies children, transforming academic aspiration into a fatal public health crisis. The gateway exams that demand this level of sacrifice offer incredibly narrow odds. In the 2026 NEET UG medical exam, 2.4 million students competed for roughly 100,000 seats, but the competition itself is frequently compromised. The 2026 NEET test paper was handwritten, scanned, and pre-circulated by an organized network. Access to the answers was sold to candidates for lakhs of rupees before the exam began. This is a systemic vulnerability. Over the past 7 years, 70 different exam papers have been leaked across multiple states, directly affecting over 1.5 crore children. These organized networks easily infiltrate state recruitment. The Vyapam scandal in Madhya Pradesh exposed an elaborate operation where paid impersonators took medical and government exams on behalf of wealthy candidates. The corruption extends down to foundational high school evaluations. In 2018, digital leaks of the CBSE Class 10 Math and Class 12 Economics papers circulated on WhatsApp, forcing over 1.5 million students to retake their national board exams. This strict fixation on testing comes at the expense of actual innovation. India's gross expenditure on research and development hovers around 0.64% of its GDP. South Korea invests nearly 5% in R&D, funding laboratories and scientific breakthroughs rather than test preparation. When organized syndicates routinely intercept and sell the examinations that dictate university admission and employment, the concept of a merit-based system breaks down completely. The national education pipeline operates at an industrial scale. Every single year, Indian institutions produce nearly 15 lakh engineering graduates. Yet the India Skills Report indicates that barely 50% of these graduates possess the technical or vocational skills required by modern employers. After enduring years of intense academic pressure and taking on massive family debt, millions of young adults enter the workforce, only to find their degrees hold little value. A system structured around dummy schools, endless rote memorization, and compromised gateway exams yields a generation of workers disconnected from the practical demands of the economy. The crisis spans the entire developmental timeline. Primary schools left vacant by recruitment scams, predatory coaching centers exploiting teenage anxiety, and untouched syndicates selling the national exams. Viewing millions of young people strictly as a captive market for test preparation limits their potential. It turns a vast demographic advantage into a severe economic liability. The high graduate unemployment rate and the psychological toll on students point to a structural failure extending beyond the classroom, threatening long-term economic stability. To capitalize on its youth population, a country must actually educate it. An education pipeline that cannot guarantee integrity or teach applicable skills guarantees its own decline.